Welcome to the epicenter of sports and entertainment. This is The Rude Dog Show. Now, here's your host, Rudy Reyes.
Welcome to the Rude Dog Show. Good afternoon, everyone, or depending on what time zone you're at. Right now, for me, it is 9:12 a.m. on the Pacific timeline. My name is Rudy Reyes, and of course, this is TheRudeDogShow.com. In the entertainment portion of today's show, we have, probably this guy is good. When I say good, he's naturally good, not just a made up, makeshift kind of good. He is good at what he does. He's an actor, he's a spokesperson, he's a producer, he's a model. Can you not tell by looking at him? Voiceover artist, author, and obviously content creator. Everybody can say they're a content creator, but when you look at everything that he's helped create, you'll know the true meaning of what a content creator actually is. So for those that post on Instagram and call themselves a content creator, we're going to define that. We're going to roll that out for you in a very clear way. I am Rudy Reyes. And of course, Mike Provenzano joins me here this morning. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great, Rudy. Thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem at all. It's a pleasure having you. I know we were talking a little bit off camera in regards to career-based, career goal, and everything is a career move in the right direction and on the wrong direction. It's not a no day, it's a yes day. So we're going to kind of move in that direction. Um, let's start off from the and I'm going to say humbling beginnings, because we find a lot of parallels between us. And one of those parallels is that you started this later in life. And for those that may not know you or may need to know you and probably will want to know you after this conversation, he has won, he's been a Cannes nominee. He's had nothing but great accolades associated with what he has done, appeared on the Hallmark Channel, and does so many great things outside of that. But some things that are on the rise, obviously not discussable, but still within his wheelhouse and something I'm sure he'll excel at. Where did you start? Why did you start? And kind of give the audience an idea as to why you decided to start this at this point in your career.
Sure. Well, I had the corporate career that, literally out of high school. And my dad was like, hey, you going to college? No. Going to work? Now. Right? It's like, okay, going to work. You got it. I started working. I got lucky. I ended up with a great company, a computer reseller. And I was able to move my way up the chain in the company, which was just phenomenal. And but when I was in my 20s, I wanted to get into acting, and I didn't have the confidence or life experiences to do it at the time. And so after 30 years in the corporate world, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something else. And I stumbled upon this by accident. And I've been having a blast ever since. It'll be about 8 years this coming July. And I can't believe it's already almost 8 years, but I'm just having a blast. And I always say the same thing. I look at things like, I think God put this career in front of me at this time because I had to go through all the other stuff to get to here.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Believe me, I find that parallel, and that resonates more with me than probably anybody you'll ever meet, because I didn't start this till I was 40. Broadcast video was not a thing. I was working a retail job, didn't like it, worked other retail jobs, didn't like it. And I thought to myself, man, what else can I do? Let me think outside of the box. Let me get out of this rut that I'm in and find a way to help give people just true factual entertainment, be fun, enjoy doing it, and enjoy the process. You've enjoyed the process as well along the way. So we share that commonality.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in my 20s, I didn't have a clue what I was going to do. I have any idea. I said, you know what, maybe I'll go to a trade school and get a tech degree and whatever. And that didn't quite work out because of the big layoffs in the digital parts of California. I thought to myself, okay, well, that goes out the window. So much for that. And this is where we're at. So when it came to being shy, I was not. I was beyond not shy. I was given a microphone and shoved in front of my family to sing Christmas music, Tell me about your journey. How did you get away from that shyness? What components did you feel you needed to do to break that ability to want to hide in the corner instead of being out in front of everyone?
Yeah. Well, if I go back a little bit further, I was in foster care for about 4 years of my childhood, and I think that is what caused my shyness specifically, because I went from being home to not, and then being back home afterwards, which was but everything I look at makes me who I am today. But I think my corporate career really helped me um, grow as a person. But I remember specifically going to a public speaking training class up in New York with one of the owners of our company that I worked with. There was four brothers that owned it. And I remember going there, and literally they just say, hey, they put you up on stage, they put a camera on you, and they're like, hey, just tell us about your job, who you are. And you do it, and it's amazing. You just stand there and nothing's moving on your body physically, right? So, so you look at the video afterwards, and like, how come you're not moving your arms? I'm like, I don't know, right? And they're like, how come? And so then I do my next one, and that, like, this arm's moving, and my other arm looks like it's dead. And then, like, you watch that, and you kind of go through that. So I went to that for a couple of days, and I think that had a big impact on my ability to just speak to people. I mean, I still at that point had no clue that I would ever be doing what I do now, not by any stretch of the imagination, similar to where how you ended up where you are.
Yeah, it wasn't my first idea to jump out in front of people and started singing. As a matter of fact, my very first time of actually being in front of people and breaking away from the family mold of, okay, now I built the comfort zone within my own family. That's great and wonderful. And at the age of, I don't know, 17, it was kind of the norm. Go to my grandma's house, we sing music, and then that was it. But I had done something that was even more outside of where I'm normally standing in, and that's in front of a live audience. People I didn't even know, people that didn't even know me. And so I'm standing there with a mic in my hand, and at the time, I was really big into Journey,
Okay.
and I always wanted to cover a Journey song. Of course, Steve Perry, I can't even bother touching that. He has so many registers and
Anytime.
boxes. I just don't check them all. However, I stood up and I made my presence known. And when I was done with it, I had a standing ovation from those in the audience. And I didn't do it for that reason. I did it to see what I would do and how I would react in that moment and in that situation. And I certainly found a way to actually give it. So I guess for that moment, I was giving of myself to those I didn't know. And it actually felt pretty good, to be honest with you. I felt like it was a break. I don't know. Too bad there wasn't a producer there. Maybe he could have hired me to be on a future American Idol. I don't know. But but when it's all said and done, um, I wanted to do it again and again and again and again. Of course, not in that real time audience, but maybe karaoke was my thing. I don't know. But
Yeah.
but you consider yourself a lifelong giver. Kind of, could you break that down for, again, those that don't know what that means, or to give back or to be a giver? What does a true lifelong giver actually look like to you?
Yeah, to me, it goes back to the beginnings. I looked at my childhood and where I lived, and I lived on a home that had 40 acres and 40 kids living in this campus that we lived on, and which is like 15 minutes from my house now. And once I, started my corporate world and all that stuff, my working thing, I was like, how can I give back to them? That was my original thought. And then our company started to help them, and it was a kind of a cool feeling to go back and see the kids that were living there now. And they already knew about who we were, because they were prepped for, hey, he used to live here, blah, 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 all that stuff. And it was kind of cool to give back. And like, we had an AV company, so we set up a big movie night for them to watch. I don't know what movies we brought a popcorn machine, whole 9 yards, and they all had a blast. And it was a great feeling of giving back to kids that I didn't know. But I wanted to do that because I went through that experience, and I wanted kids to feel the best that they could feel, and know that, just because, where you live and what you experience doesn't mean you can't do anything you want to do in life. And that's kind of what started it for me. And so I always am one of those who try to help others any way that I can, whether it is with the experience that I have now and how I can share it to help someone take another action. I mean, I coached my kids in sports for 15 years, and I'm still doing. My youngest now is playing basketball, and that is fun because not only are you teaching them a sport, but you're teaching them, leadership skills. You're teaching them good sportsmanship, all the other things that they need to learn as they become young adults. And watching one of my sons do that and become like, I remember when he was on a basketball court and he drilled some kid, knocked him down, right? And after the game, I'm like, hey, did you apologize to him? He goes, no. I go, go over there and do it right now. He went over, apologized to the kid, shook his hand, and that moment stuck. So anytime there was any type of issue, I didn't have to say a word to him. He just took it on himself to be that type of kid, and so watching that was just like a great feeling. And now helping others help others is even, is something that I love to do as well. So if someone is helping people in foster care, I kind of tend to lean that direction just because I went through it. And I'm sure, you heard a little bit about Christmas is Not Canceled, but Jen Lilly and her friend Ali started this group called Christmas is Not Canceled back during the pandemic. So in 2020, when they canceled Thanksgiving, they were talking to each other, what are they going to cancel Christmas next? So they started this where they just wanted to give toys to children who weren't going to get them because of the pandemic. And a couple of years ago, they asked if I would join and help them. So I've been a part of the organization for a couple of years now, and as a team leader. And twice a year we have campaigns where last year we donated over 20,000 toys, and in the summertime we donated about 2,500 backpacks that are filled with school supplies to go to children in foster care who may not have the things they need to walk into school and look normal like the rest of the kids do. So I love helping out any way that I can.
You mentioned a couple things resonate with me. You're talking about Christmas and what that means to those that do not have anything, and to kind of broaden that scope just a little bit. And there are kids all over the nation who are dealing with
Yep.
not getting the things that they need to help develop them. There are so many people, so many different organizations, and it fills your heart, to be honest with you. It fills you as an individual because you can relate in some way, shape, or form. Not because you didn't get the GI Joe you wanted or the Barbie you wanted for Christmas. It's, let's think about those that got nothing. For those that get nothing on a regular basis, let's make sure that we cross cancel that out to where they actually have something to look forward to in life. And it extends upon holiday, greetings and salutations and what have you. This is about understanding that if people are going to give to you, why not give back to others? And it helps build that type of personality, that mentality, and helps the momentum swing in the direction of them possibly doing the very same thing when they're, well, older, in their 20s and their 30s, and they have the ability to do so. So to put that into context, that's really what it's about when it's all said and done. It's to give them the idealism that it goes beyond just giving for the moment. Let's give till it hurts. Let's do this annually. So congratulations to you. And of course, this is the definition of what a lifelong giver is, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't figured that out at this point. When it comes to career development, does the ability for you to help navigate others, maybe not in the same tracks that you had, paid for yourself, but for those that have helped you along the way, what advice would you give them? No is a hard answer. You must have a thick skin. I've heard those. I've been told no personally, and I can relate to that. I know we're talking offline a little bit. I've been told no. I've been told that I'm too old. I don't have enough experience. What else have I been told? Nobody will want me because I'm too old over the radio, which is absurd. And I'm currently on radio right now on iHeartRadio. So Um, what advice can you give others that are maybe looking at doing something more expansive with their life and to maybe follow those types of footsteps that maybe you have paved along the way?
Sure. And there's, you can go a lot of directions here, but I'll start with the basics, right? Do what you love, and if you love going after something, I mean, you got to give it your all, and, every industry is hard. There's no business that anybody gets into and all of a sudden overnight you've made it, right? You have to put in the time. You've got to be patient. But you have to just keep going. There's going to be highs and lows, just like everybody else deals with. This industry is a little tougher because I've something I've started saying recently is you're basically applying for a new job every day, right? Because that's what we do. And but you have to put in the time. You've got to, like, if I could say it, if people are trying to get into this business, you have to submit to opportunities every single day. You have to work on your craft every single day. I tell my kid who he wanted to be a basketball player, I said, then have a basketball in your hand every single day, every day. I don't care if it's snowing out and you're dribbling in the basement. I don't care what you're doing. Every day have a basketball in your hands so you can get better playing that sport. And everything we do is the same. You have to enjoy it, number one, um, and set some goals for yourself, and track what you want or what you're trying to accomplish. That's what I learned in my corporate world that a lot of people don't understand in the industry is that set some goals from yourself, set some trackable stuff that you can measure and see how you're doing. And when you're not hitting, like I said in our earlier, I used to strive to hit 30 submissions a week. And I tracked that very consistently, and I was paying attention to it. I was putting it on a website. And so at the end of the year, I could see how I did in all those things that I was targeting. And there were areas that were going well. There are areas that didn't go well, but when you find others in your community that can become cheerleaders for you, because when you get into a different industry, a lot of people that you're close with don't understand it and they can't relate to it and they can't, and, hey, well, are you working on anything? That's the question. Are you in anything? And when the answer is no, they're like, well, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And you have to celebrate whatever your successes are. And in this business, an audition is a success and it's your job, and if I would, thinking back years ago, when you treat your audition as your job, it's when you get to act for someone else, right? That's what it is. And if you get to go to the next level, great. You get a call back, you get to do it again. And if you get hired, you get to do it again, right? So you have to celebrate all those little successes you have along the way. And because, like I said, you're going to have highs and lows. And when the lows come, just that's part of it. But when it does, have some action steps to take, whether it's training, whether it's, making your own content, whether it's, doing something else to keep you engaged in what you do during the lull time. Because when the busy time comes, you don't have time to do other things. So, yeah, I guess the bottom line, give it your all, stay focused, and don't let anybody tell you no.
Oh boy, I'll have to raise my hand like I'm in class. That was fabulous. No, and you're absolutely right. I think that when you look at the totality of what your individual life is, I mean, you've had Best Narrative Short Film, Certificate of Appreciation from the Palm Springs Movie Awards in 2022. I mean, you have accolades from Indie Film Fest. I mean, you continue to, for lack of a better term, pile up these awards. Again, being a producer, being a director, doing all these various things, giving back to the community or the place that you once called home. For those that don't have anything, this is an ongoing battle. I mean, this is just an ongoing thing where we always try to become a better version of ourselves on a daily basis, on a regular basis. Because if we don't hone our craft, we don't refine it, we end up falling behind, and somebody else could get that spot on TV, that
Mhm.
spot on radio, that spot on television, or whatever goal you're trying to ascertain actually is.
Yeah.
Um, it it's been an absolute pleasure, I must say, Mike. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the information, the energy. People, look, if you want to follow someone, go to MikeProv.com. I'm sure Mike would be happy to answer any questions at MikeMLProv.com with your career questions, concerns, thoughts. He's done this for quite a while now. He's had the nuances of the ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flow of the industry. If there's someone that you want to reach out to, if not just for a few questions, how do I do this? Where do I go? How do I redirect myself? How can I be a better version of me? Because each one of us have our own individual story as to where we started and where we're at right now. And that book is not finished. It's being written, but it's not finished yet. Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate your time and would love to have you on again.
Thank you very much, Rudy. It was my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot. This is Rudy Reyes on TheRudeDogShow.com. You'll find us on TheRudeDogShow.com. You'll find it on YouTube. I'll throw some shorts out there for everyone to check out. Shorts is in little small film clips. And and usually I'll wear shorts in the summertime, and that's kind of about it. Anyway, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow on TheRudeDogShow.com.